Well, am I afraid of solo traveling? No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. And it's like, actually, I don't think it's scary at all. I mean, there are bad things that can happen to you. But to be honest, the moments that I feel the most scared are usually like when I'm at home and in my own place and I just get a panic attack in the middle of night. And I feel scared like in different situations, no matter where I am. I never truly, to be honest, I never feel safe anywhere. So, being somewhere that I've never been before alone doesn't really change much, to be honest. Like I'm as much scared as I usually am. Usually even less because I'm like more focused on everything around me, like the new things, and to be honest, like something bad can happen to you anytime. Like you can be just walking, to buy groceries and somebody may assault you. This is something that can happen to you every day, and to be honest, the only change and the only different thing when you travel is that you are in different place that maybe you haven't been to before. And yeah, you don't know some things. You don't know, for example, some things about transport. Maybe you don't know some things. Maybe you should you should check some phone numbers, like emergency numbers, and maybe that will help you if you feel like if you don't feel safe because you are in a different place. And maybe you should read about transportation, because to be honest, this is pain in the ass. That in some places it's like you don't know how to use public transport. It's like the way how to use it is so obscure. You don't understand how to buy the ticket and stuff like this. This is very, very annoying. Sometimes I would get fined because of that because I couldn't buy a fucking ticket. So yeah, some things are different when you travel versus when you don't. But it's like actually the reason why I'm never afraid of solo traveling is because I'm afraid all the time, and I never feel safe, and it doesn't really change if I'm in a different place, different settings. It's even like I feel more safe because I pay more attention to the new things. I don't pay attention to things that I overthink. I don't think about scary things because I'm just busy with something else. So it's not really that scary, to be honest. Are there a lot of creepy men who will stalk you in some places? Yeah, but to be honest, I treat them more like mosquitoes. They are. I'm not scared of them. I'm just annoyed by them. I just find them very annoying. In most of cases, I'm not afraid of them. A few times I was in situations that I was actually afraid. Like I was somewhere and there was like nobody, and there was this one creepy man. And in those situations, I was truly afraid. But it happened to me a few times, and it happened to me mostly because I wasn't very cautious, and I wasn't like, let's not go there. It doesn't look safe. I wasn't like this. I just went there and I didn't think about this much. To be honest, you shouldn't think about if I ever tell you about things that happened to me when I was solo traveling. You shouldn't compare this to yourself because you wouldn't do those things that led me to those situations. I do not really value my life, and I do not really care if something happens to me. So sometimes I do things because I just do not care. This is not my priority to protect myself. So sometimes I go to places that I know are not safe because I don't care. Uh, yeah, and I just don't think about this in the moment. And but to be honest, in those situations in which something bad happened to me, it was usually just a nuisance that after some time it was good. Like sometimes I would have times that, actually my first solo trip was very bad. It was like I went traveling and I didn't really plan beforehand. I didn't plan anything. I just planned what time I should depart the train and what time I should take a bus, and that's what I planned. But I didn't really plan how much money should I take. I mean, I actually planned what to take with myself, but I didn't plan how much money I should take with myself, which was so stupid. Like, when I think about this, how could I even do that? Like, I was going to two European capitals and I didn't take almost any money. I was like, oh yeah, 20 euros, that's enough. Yeah, that's probably enough. And my hotel costed 20, like, my hostel costed 20 euros. So I spent this 20 euros like on food or something, and I didn't have for a hostel, so I had to spend the night in the honest, this night that I spent in the streets, it was kind of scary. It was it was scary, but it was kind of not something that happened to me and I could prevent. I could not prevent, it was because I was very stupid and I didn't really plan. So things like that sometimes happen. But if I was cautious and if I was scared and if I was like, if I wasn't me, it wouldn't happen to me. I spent that night going from one bar to another bar that was still open, and when at some point everything was already closed, I was just next to a train station, and actually something quite scary happened to me that night. But it was also because I wasn't very cautious. I was somebody told me, oh, go with me somewhere, it's very close. He kind of dragged me into his apartment, and I think he was a drug addict. Like I'm 100, like I'm almost 100% sure he was. His apartment was like very dirty, and there was nothing there, like nothing. There was no furniture. Just some syringes or something like this, I think, and just one bed, and that's it. Like very dirty mattress, even no sheets on it, and smelled very strange. Like I always imagined a smell of a drug addict's place like this. I don't know if it actually was a smell of drugs or whatever, or sweat. I don't know what smell was that, but it smelled very strange, and I got scared. I suddenly panicked and I ran away. I ran away from his house because he was like, "Oh, I will give you some coffee. I live just there." And he didn't live that just there. He lived quite far away, and he dragged me there. I was actually, I don't know why I even went with him. I don't know why I didn't say no. I have no idea. So yeah, it did happen that night that I spent in the streets. And he didn't have a finger, which was like kind of. I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with not having a finger. It's kind of not your fault if something happened to you, but it was just a strange thing. He didn't have a finger. And I feel like an asshole for running away, to be honest, because I just said nothing. I just ran. But I was so scared, to be honest. I just got so scared. It was my first solo travel, and that wasn't the only time that something scary happened to me, but I was also in places that people usually don't go. I went to a lot of countries that, for example, people were like, "You're going there? It's dangerous. Aren't you afraid of dying?" And I was like, no, I'm not. And I went there, and actually in some places that were like had a reputation of dangerous, actually some of those places I didn't feel threatened at all, actually. Like when I was going to Beirut, a lot of people told me that there's a lot of mafia, it's so scary, don't go there. Actually, I felt very safe there, to be honest. And like the only thing that made me a bit maybe not safe is it has no electricity, so at night it's dark. It's like dark, like in air. It's like it's really dark. You cannot see anything. And I was thinking like, oh, it's very dark. If somebody wanted to do something to me, I wouldn't even see them coming because it's just dark. So that's the only thing that made me quite a bit scared, maybe. And some people with guns and stuff like this, but it's like, I knew that they wouldn't target me. Like, what's the point? What would be the point of that? So I wasn't really scared of them that much. And I was, yeah, just this darkness, but actually I didn't feel scared at all. I felt very safe in Lebanon, to be honest. And yeah, I've been to a lot of places that have a reputation of scary places. Did I see some scary people, and was I in places that were actually scary, and did I see some really scary things? Yeah, also. It also happened, but actually not in Beirut. Some places that have very bad reputation for being scary actually weren't scary. And and some places that have reputation of being scary were scary. It depended on a place, but it's like usually when I go somewhere, I check the news, and when I see that something has happened somewhere, I usually don't go to that place that people, I see, some violent crimes may be committed at the same time. I usually don't go. So, but it's like, I also think that, you cannot really trust anybody, to be honest. You cannot trust anybody. You cannot trust any other person you meet. You can never know if something bad happens to you. It may happen anywhere. Like, you never know if somebody that you are talking to and is very kind is a serial killer. You never know that, It's like, I just don't trust people in general. So traveling doesn't really change that much. I mean, sometimes it does, because sometimes I know that something scary that is there, is there and it's happening. And, then it's like, yeah, but it's like at the same time, I would feel like, like someone won a blackmail if I didn't go somewhere just because they are scary. And you know it would be kind of like, being like, okay, okay, I will do what you want me to do, you know. I don't know, it's strange. Like, I understand people not wanting to go to some places. I do understand that. I think, like, also there's an ethical issue that, you know, some places are run by bad people, you know, and you know that, and you know that if you go to that place, you will, if whether you want that or not, you will give some of the money to that regime, because you know everything anywhere you buy, they have taxes, and the taxes go to them, you know. So it's an ethical issue, and I understand a lot of people who are like, I don't want to go there because I don't want to give those people money. I think that's valid. At the same time, other people have an opinion like, you should go there because then you see, then you see what it looks like. And then you will never want to give them any money, and then you will never support them. And so there are different opinions about such things, and I don't know which opinion is correct, to be honest. I don't know what's the best way to do, but I think it's as long as you want to do the right thing, you know, it's kind of valid. I don't have the answers, to be honest. And as you see, I do not have a thing that I do not travel to this place because some money may go to unethical people. As you see, I don't do that because I've been to 59 countries, and some of them were really like, you know, I read very bad things about the governments there. When I travel somewhere, I always try to, you know. So yeah, I'm scared of airports. I think they are scary. You know, some people with guns can control you and check your documents. It's like, I never trust people to have guns. Like, I don't care if you have a uniform, you know. I just, when I see a person with a gun, I'm scared. That's how my brain works. I do not trust people. So yeah, actually, a fun thing is that once I went to one city and I had a great time. I felt so safe. I never actually felt so safe during any of my trips. And later I met somebody who went to the same place, and he told me, you know, I was so scared. This place was full of mafia. And I was like, lol, I actually went there. I felt the safest, you know, I've ever felt in any city. And I think it could be because he was like a very rich boy, and he went to that city and he just saw those people, and you know, he was like, oh my god, people who aren't as rich as me, they probably want to steal my money. And I went to that place and I was like, actually, in that place I felt like those people, they are just like me, you know, they are just like me. Even they said, you know, you are just like family. We see you for the first time in our lives. You've never been to this country before, but you know, we have so much in common. I was feeling so safe in that place, and like I felt so much connection to those people, even though I've never met them before. They were like family to me. I felt so amazing in that place. Actually, those few days, they were like, you know, they they made me feel so much better, and I really needed being there. That point of my life, I didn't even know that during this trip it would be so amazing, and I will meet so many amazing people that we had a lot of in common with. uh, but yeah, it was amazing. When he said that this place has a lot of mafia, I was like, bro, am I mafia? Am I mafia? Because they felt like family to me. I think it was because he was rich, and when he saw people who aren't rich, you know, he was thinking, oh, they will take my wallet, they will, you know. I think it's a class thing. So anyway, yeah, I'm not afraid of solo traveling. Is it like less safe for you if you're a woman? Yeah, it is. Like, you know, men are creepy. But I treat them as mosquitoes, you know, because if they want to do something bad to me, at least I will not waste my life being scared. Like, so I treat them mostly like mosquitoes. But yeah, a lot of scary situations in which I was because I was a bit careless, and I don't really care if a scary situation comes to me. Usually after something scary happens to me, I'm a bit more cautious for some time, and for sometimes scary things don't happen to me because I'm cautious. Like recently I was in France and I had some a bit scary incident with a stranger, and after that I was kind of avoiding people during my trips, especially men. I was thinking like, oh my god, I'm scared of them, I don't want to talk to them. And since that time, nothing bad happened to me during traveling so far, at least so far. Like the most yeah, like bad things that happened to me during traveling in the time was, you know, trains. not coming, and bus is not coming. But none of the things, like scary things involving like some people being violent or something like this, nothing, none of this happened to me like later after this, because I was avoiding people, because I was like, this one person was scary. I didn't avoid him, even though my gut feeling was telling me run. He didn't actually, it ended up, he didn't do much to me. Like, he probably wanted to do some things, but it was like, why. So it didn't happen, like, it didn't end very unwell. But after that, I was a bit, more careful. I mean, he probably wanted to do some things to me, but, yeah, it was a strange situation, but it happens. It was telling me